They just face cast him. Yeah, he was so good in Gotham. He's so good in Gotham, and then you see him in this.
I cannot aim on this game to save my life. And then another friend of mine went to the Death Museum in January, and he and his friend were also like,
oh no.
Welcome back to Off the Air, where Noah doesn't have an intro and neither does Dan.
Is this the only reason we keep Jackson around?
In typical fashion, with Jackson not being here, since there's no wild energy to start us, I feel like I have to explain that he's not here.
I mean, that is fair. I mean, it is always he comes in with the most energy, and then we're all just here in his unending wake.
It's nice to have someone that just drags us along for the ride. I gotta be honest.
I know,
but like,
especially, I mean, I'm tired. I'm gonna be honest with you. I am just sleepy. I've been stuck getting up. So dog. We got the dog.
Everyone got the dog.
Amelia, very cute.
Freaking adorable.
She
spawned an entire channel in the Discord of pet
It really
pics.
did. It really did.
I've muted it because I knew it was going to get exhausting. But these are good pictures.
Yeah, dude. She is a very photogenic dog.
Honestly, she's stupidly photogenic. Those first pictures that you ever sent of her made her look
the smile
like this fat little lump of a dog, and she was
she is
looking
kind of
up over
still.
at you like, hello. Oh my gosh, stupidly adorable.
Yeah, she's very cute. She isn't real. I've had many people just ask if she's real or not, and
she might be. She doesn't look real. She's just all. I mean, okay, fine. This one where she's asleep with her face tucked behind your like space heater. Sure, maybe she's not as photogenic in that one. She looks like a real dog. But every other shot, she just looks dead at the camera, and it's just like, oh, hello.
Hello there. Yeah. Yeah, she is very, very photogenic. And honestly, like, okay, knock on wood, whatever. She's really good. Like, I expect her to be a lot louder. She is into everything. Don't get me wrong. She bites and tries to eat everything, from my pants to the trim molding to the side of her bowl when it is empty. Like, if it is small enough that she can fit her mouth around it, she will try to eat it. So that's been kind of exhausting, and we're slowly getting. She's only a couple of weeks old, but she even like already responds to us telling her no around half the time. She knows what we mean when we tell her no. Whether or not she responds to it is another question.
But she's
really, really good. She like will follow you around the house. She just wants to be near you, which we are gonna have to like train out a little bit of that social anxiety or that separation anxiety, because she does not like being alone in a room. But like, I don't know. So she actually, because of her, I had to rearrange my office for like the 4th time, I think, in 2 months.
Yeah.
And now the left side of my desk is here. Actually, hold on. I can send it in the Discord. Let me see if I have those pictures. Hold on.
I will, full disclosure to everyone listening, I have not had the energy to get the photos in the episodes recently. That might be something that we're phasing out.
I mean, that's very valid. So like, this is what my setup looked like before her, and like,
oh yeah, it's a mess of wires. One of those things where you look at it and it's like, oh, Dan just moved. I know he would never leave it like this. Even though you probably would have left it like that
a few months ago. Yeah, I did tie it off once, but then I had to keep rearranging stuff because I got like little stands that I can set my monitors on, and I got I got my VR headset up for a while, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But now I had to move because of her. I had to move everything.
Oh no!
Off the floor.
Yeah.
Except for the subwoofer.
Well, yes.
And the lamp, I guess. Everything else.
You left the lamp on the floor? Wow, I can't believe you just want to kill your dog.
Oh wow, that's
oh my gosh, that's much cleaner.
Yeah,
that's
so I had to tie off every wire. I actually, because of the way the thing is, it actually droops down behind, and so like she could almost jump up and bite it. So I had to like tape some of the cords to the bottom of my desk just to hold them so they wouldn't hang down far enough.
Are you just like rocking gaffer tape?
Yeah, gaff tape. Yeah,
I love gaff tape.
Gaff tape is amazing, dude.
It fixes everything. It works for everything. It's just good.
It's gaff tape and duct tape. If you have those 2 tapes, you don't need anything else. Fact. Just that gaff tape is expensive. Anyway, I managed to clean up my desk pretty well, and so now she's able to hang out in here, and like, when she's in here with me, dude, she like don't get me wrong, she's a little bit wild. She still poops on the floor about once a day. Like 2 times out of 3 or 3 times out of 4 she'll poop on her pee pee pad, but like that last time she's pooping on the floor. It's just a matter of where and when. But like she just hangs out. I have a pillow and a blanket in the corner and she just like climbs onto that and chews on her toy, and then she'll get up like 20 minutes later and go sit in a different corner, and then get back up 20 minutes later and go sit in a different corner. It's great. She is an amazing dog. Michelle is tired because she's been getting here in the morning this weekend, and for some reason this weekend specifically, she's been straight wild.
Oh no.
Like we have a mirror in the living room, and she's trying to get up behind the mirror and bite on like the metal that is supposed to hang it to the wall. Because she's a brat. She's a little gremlin, but I love her, and she's very like all things told for a 9-week-old puppy, almost 10 weeks old. She is as good as you can possibly ask for. She's so quiet, and I love her. I love her quite a bit. I love her even more than I thought it would. The only thing I don't love is that my body is constantly trying to kill itself. Because as established, I am allergic as hell to dogs.
Very unfortunate. I'm not gonna lie.
And I am not insured right now because we live in a society, and so I can't go and like see a doctor and be like, "Please, doc, give me something." I am stuck taking as much over-the-counter medication as is safe to take. But that's part of the reason that I am very tired. That and I go to bed on average like 2 a.m. Amelia goes to bed at like 7, 8 p.m. And then she gets up on the dot like 6 every single morning. Every morning since she's been here, she's gotten up at 6 a.m.
Which is nice, but also
fine if not for the fact that Michelle is at that point in the height of her workday, the busiest possible part, the time that she can't step away, and I am now a grand total of maybe 4, usually less hours of sleep into the night. But I get up, feed her, water her, let her use the bathroom, and then I end up sleeping on the couch for 3 hours. So you know what? It works out. But it's been an adventure. We've today, actually, as soon as we're done recording here, Michelle and I have to sit down and put together a training plan for her, because we were originally talking about getting her, like taking her to like a professional trainer. And then the more I looked into it, the more I'm like, do I really want to spend that money when about half the training has to be done at home anyway? I might as well just do it myself and like take the time and study and like figure out how to do it. So I have to put in order for like a clicker and like some extra treats and like that kind of thing. So a baby gate. She found out today at gremlin child size how to climb the entire way up our stairs up into the loft.
Except she can't get back down those stairs because
she cannot get back down those stairs. And if she looks down the stairs when she is on the stairs, she gets freaked out because she is very small and the stairs are quite tall. And so she just twice now we found her just whining on the stairs. Not found her. We've watched her climb halfway up, stop, look back at us and start whining because she can't get any further up and she can't get any further down. So now we have to baby the stairs, which is very funny. Very, very funny. But also just more things that I'm like, if she had waited like a month to try to learn how to climb those stairs, that would have been great. Because by then she would have been big enough to be able to climb back down.
So close. So close.
So close and so far. We can't even take her out. The actual worst part. The actual worst part is we can't even take her outside until January. Because she doesn't have all her shots, and she can't get all her shots until 4 months old. Or can't get the last of her. I think it's rabies is the last one she has to get in like early January. And so I endlessly worry because I am okay. So I always hated it when people were like, "Oh, I'm a parent, but I'm a parent to a bunch of fur babies. I take care of all my fur babies."
So you remember how like 2 seconds ago I told you I hate the phrase pupper and doggo? Fur baby is high key up there, but for totally different reasons.
Fair enough. It took me a grand total of 2 days before I started referring to her as my child. And I understand. I'm not trying to downplay it, right? Not the same thing at all, by any means. That said, I've been around a lot of babies in my life, and it is a little bit the same thing. They both are at an age, or I've been through babies at the age where they are teething. Everything goes in their mouth. Doesn't matter what it is. It is small enough to fit in their mouth. It's going in their mouth. And dogs are, at least at her age, are basically the exact same. Understand enough to know when you don't want them to do something, but young enough to not always care. And like, part of that is training, and part of that is just time. But it literally less than 2 days before I started referring to her as my child. And I don't love that that's what I'm doing now. I'm not happy about it. I don't know why it was so natural, I guess, for lack of a better word. But it's wild. I also, speaking of things that I hated before or have done before and have come back to bite me in the ass, I have a friend, and she'll eventually get to this. Kenzie, not Kenzie, friend of enemy of the show, Sam.
What a wild string of ways to say who it is.
Because we know two Kenzies that are both online only friends.
You do.
So you do too. You know. Well, okay. I guess you only know one. Fine. The one that you don't know, you don't know her. She goes to a different Discord.
No, she is my online only friend. The other one I know in person. That's all.
You know what? That's very fair. That's very fair. Anyway, she's been listening through the entire backlog because she has been she works and has been slowly just like every day at work.
I respect it, but man,
like
I can't imagine listening to myself that much. But also it's not like I haven't done that to podcasts before. I do that anytime I find a new one. So I guess I get it in hindsight. Never mind. Continue.
I get it, but it's weird. It's one of those uncomfortable things. And we've kind of talked about it. It's been a while since we talked about it, I think. But like, it's always weird to me that friends and like people I care about actually care enough to support the thing 100%. I'm doing. If that makes sense. Like she told me, "Hey, I'm listening to through the podcast fine." I'm like, "You don't have to do that. It's fine. Don't." I've said a lot of things. Don't do that. And like she loves it. It's a great time, but it's always a little bit weird to me because I almost am more comfortable talking about whatever to complete strangers.
I fully feel that. I am 100% saying very out of pocket things to people that I know I'm never going to see again. Because that is hot take. Very easy to do and not that scary. But as soon as it's one of those things where it's like, oh no,
exactly.
My friends are gonna know. That's bad. My friends might blow this back at my job or something stupid like that. That's why I've never
posted this podcast on. It's why, as much as I post about the podcast on Twitter and wherever else, I never mention it on Facebook. Also because I try not to go on Facebook, but like because the people from my past that I don't necessarily want or care to deal with the fallout of them listening to this are on my Facebook, and I don't need that. But yeah, she's been going through, and apparently my dumbass at the beginning of the year. The reason I'm bringing this up, the reason this whole story came up is because apparently my dumbass at the beginning of the year said something to the effect of, "Oh man, I'm kind of excited for 2020. It can't be any worse than 2019." And if I ever say that shit again, I need you to take me out back and put one in my head. Like,
see, here's the thing. I should
have ever said.
So
ever
remember back in December of 2019 when we went to the Death Museum, and we were there learning about the Spanish flu. And how it killed people in 1920.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Someone there, one of you dumbasses, was asking me. I don't know if it was Dave or my sister, but whichever one it was, it's your fault because one of you told me, "Huh? You think we're gonna have a crazy plague in 2020?" Ha 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 ha. And I'm like, no, that would be stupid. That's just superstition talking, because how on earth would that happen? And then another friend of mine went to the Death Museum in January, and he and his friend were also like, what if we had another one this year? And now here we are.
Like, wild, dude.
How? Like, how is it every 100 years, borderline like clockwork, we have a crippling disease sweep a society?
I mean, that actually, I would be willing to guess it's something about how generational gaps work. Like because there are nobody alive today. I don't want to say things.
Are you trying to say no one alive today survived the Spanish flu? I was gonna say, I'm sure that there's some, very few, but not a lot.
But not a lot. And like anyone who was born after the Spanish flu doesn't remember it. In the same reason that like there's this quote about how I don't remember who said it or where it came from, but something to the effect of you'll only ever have one major war in your generation. Like something obviously not.
No, I feel it. I feel it. But it's still funny to hear how wrong that statement is.
Exactly. But the reason being is that the people who have already been to war and already have been part of a war know the cost a lot better. And so, but by the time the next generation or two generations pass, everyone's already forgotten, because as a species, we just don't have the memory for it, because we naturally block out bad things in both our lives and our history so that we don't, spiral as much. Haha, JK. I spiral anyway. Anyway, but yeah, so but the same I would make a guess that there's a similar reason for why, like, if something like the Spanish, well, didn't yeah, there was a just scrolling through, like, literally I just have Google open with Spanish flu. And like even the swine flu pandemic wasn't anywhere near this.
Because do you remember
it was scary.
what was it? What was that one from Africa?
And then the Zika virus.
Ebola. You remember Ebola? And how everyone was very afraid of Ebola.
Yeah.
And it barely even made it to the States because we locked down properly about it. But, like, the only people that got it in the States were people who lied and brought it in with them. And they were quickly tracked down and, euthanized. I don't know. I don't remember what happened to them. I think most of them survived.
That'd be kind of neat, though. No, that's not. Well, and that's like there are a lot of other factors that go into like why Corona is like specifically fucking everything. But like there have been other smaller plagues. It's just a matter of like plagues or massive diseases that spread like wildfire. It's just a question of like, do we remember well enough? And also like obviously like a lot of misinformation. Yada.
The general public was not
prepared by certain
to watch scientific process happen. So I know personally a very large number of people who, when they learned that like things were changing, like people were like, oh, well, the CDC at first said masks aren't that important. And it's like, well, yeah, because they didn't know how it was transmitted. As it turns out, it's primarily airborne. So that's the biggest concern. And then it just continues on with like, hey, this is what we know. And then an update comes out, but you still have people sharing the same memes that are like, oh, well, this is like a screenshot of an official CDC like statement saying, well, this is what they said, but now they're telling us that it's not okay. What are the ever-changing lines? Blah, 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 blah. That's why this disease is fake. And it's like, no, dude, we're watching them learn about this disease that, yes, shares a lot of root like elements with other diseases we know about. But here's the problem. None of our treatments work for it. So we need to do more work and figure out what the hell to do with it. That's not us trying to lock down an economy. That is us trying to not kill people.
Well, and that's, I think, part of it also is that because of like the internet and like 24-hour news cycles and stuff like that, people expect to have the answers right away and expect those answers to be answers. And like, that's not how things work. People change, people grow, things grow, information changes. Information is not a static, this is fact. Information is a fucking spectrum.
Man.
But like it is.
I'm just thinking about 24-hour news cycles and the concept of them, because I can't imagine exposing myself to that. But I know people who have a 24-hour news channel on all the time. And those people are always freaking out because you get exposed to the worst of the world constantly. And that's here. Let me do something for Jackson, because Jackson's not here. That's why we need to unplug.
Go for it.
Like high key, we need to take a step back, because technology. Here's my spin, because Jackson doesn't like technology as much. Like he high key just wants to unplug. I love technology. Technology is great. All of my hobbies revolve around technology for the most part.
Technology is very cool.
However, I am not going to try and claim that technology has done only good things for anyone, because the fact of the matter is, it sounds,
there are scientific fucking studies that show that
like
that is distinctly not true.
I hate the people that are like, the human body was never made to process this kind of information, because whatever, I get it, whatever. We're really not supposed to. But
whatever, we grow, we evolve, we adapt.
Also, the human mind is really not meant to process that level of information. We need time to ease into it. We went from people barely knew anything outside of their own town to the World Wide Web in a matter of 30 years. That's insane.
Yeah. We have right now, sitting at my computer, I have, for all intents and purposes, the sum of all human knowledge at my fingertips. I could find out just about anything I wanted to know. Anything, like, even like just full stop anything. I could right now tell you, look up the name of a obscure country or county in, Asia, and have like the full history of that location
Yeah.
within what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And but the downside of that is just like you said, like the idea that I think it's especially prevalent it's especially prevalent right now. Hence things like doom scrolling and stuff like that. The idea that if you're not looking at it, you are somehow it's almost a weird FOMO thing, right? It's almost, if you're not keeping up on it, you're going
and it doesn't help that there's a lot of
happen.
people that I know we said that we weren't going to talk politics, and a lot of this is straying political a little bit, but like, bear with me.
We're avoiding
there's
it,
a lot of
I think
people that say if you're not staying plugged in, then you don't care about whatever now this is going to sound really stupid.
No, go ahead.
Whatever
I know
the
where you're going
current
with this.
cause of the day is. And I don't mean that every cause coming up is just another flash in the pan thing. But you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like people will actually sit there and tell you that if you're not actively contributing and participating in whatever is happening right now, that you don't actually care about what's going on. And you know what? Maybe you can do that. And I respect that. I'm glad that you can stay that plugged in and like pay attention to that much stuff. Or I'm sorry that you have to pay attention to that much stuff because it resounds that closely with your own life. That sucks. However, not everyone can do that. And we need to acknowledge that that's okay for people to step back and not have to always participate. That's like every time Jackson talks about wanting to get a little commune going where we all just like hang out and work the land and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, that sounds so nice, but I am so afraid of not keeping up with everything that's happening because I need to be plugged into things. I love knowing what's happening because I'm afraid of getting caught in a situation where I don't know what's happening. And, like, I don't want to be the idiot because I'm not keeping up on the to-the-minute information. And man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
go
and
ahead.
I think I think that's part of the problem. Yeah. Is the idea that like, if only there was some way, some program or maybe something readable that would sum up all the things that have happened during a day or a week or whatever and give us just a rundown of what's going on so that we could stay up to date without having to scroll through Twitter or Reddit or Facebook or whatever 24/7. Oh man, if only some kind of, you call it like news or something, right? Like some kind of news station, if you will. And like that's even then, like kind of going back to 24 hours, like it's on all the time. Like, what do you just leave it on in the background? Like there are sources like that. And I have a couple that I go to try and get summaries of how things have gone during a day or a week or whatever. But it's really hard to not just doom scroll, not just scroll and see all the terrible things and then just keep scrolling because you are almost looking for the bad things.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just agreeing with you.
I don't know how to stop that. Like I took 24 hours. I mean,
you didn't really.
Well, that's the thing, right? I said I was going to take 24 hours off of Twitter. I said I'm going to step away from Twitter for 24 hours because I need a break. Literally 4 hours after I posted that, I had forgotten that I said that and then posted something else. And then I was like, oh shit, I said I was going to be off. And then, I managed to stay off for a while, but even then I hopped back on like once or twice and liked something and then got back off.
You liked a few of my things and then like 4 hours, 6 hours later, you're like, well, I'm back. And I'm like, bullshit, you're back. You were already back.
That's exactly it, is that it's very weird and I don't even think of myself as like an addict by any stretch, right? I like there are things I do think I'm addicted to and I don't necessarily think Twitter is one of them. But yeah, I felt very much like I didn't have any information about what was going on. And I felt almost, I don't want to say lost because that makes it sound very melodramatic, but like almost, yeah, I felt like I was actively missing out on, here are all the things that the world is going on and these are important and you should know them. And some of them you should, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, some causes we should know about because they are important. And also, there are some causes that like I don't need to know every detail. I can know the basics and know, hey, this is what I support, and not need to know every single detail. I saw something the other day. Someone was, I don't remember who said it. See, and that's part of the problem. That was saying, you don't have to be a political fucking analyst, right?
Mhm.
In your day to day, you don't have to be a social analyst to know, hey, I do and I don't support this thing. It's okay that there is nuance underneath that, sure, but trust yourself at least a little bit, and trust the people that at least are close to you that are supporting it. That you can do a passive, you can do a passive like, hey, what is this thing? What is going on here? Why are
Mhm.
people supporting this? Right? But also, you don't have to know everything. It's okay to just have a passing knowledge and let yourself. And then if someone comes to you and says, hey, you really shouldn't support that, it did a bad thing, then evolve and grow and discover, oh, hey, you know what? You're right. I probably shouldn't support that. It did a bad thing. Or, hey, you know what? It did do a bad thing, but the good it does outweighs the bad, in a meaningful way. You can grow and evolve your opinion and don't have to form it all in one big like lump sum when you
Mhm.
first find out about something. And I think that's, at least for me, I know that's my problem, is that once I find out about something, I want
Yeah.
to learn as much as I can about it.
I don't know.
But it's wild. It's hard to not. It's hard not to.
Mhm.
It's hard to separate yourself like that. It's really difficult.
But, it's one of those things
Um,
where it
it
unfortunately
is what
right
it
now
is.
the only way to sum it up is it is what it is. Oh no, is my stuff not recording?
Oh no,
Oh
Noah! Don't
Dan.
say that. Come
No,
on, it's
I
been
have the
30
first
minutes. Are you
8 minutes
dicking
recorded
me?
and then there's here. I have no idea. Here, put a
What did
marker
you
in for me.
do?
I'm gonna pause and give a listen.
All right.
All right, big scare
I don't remember
aside.
where we left up.
We're good
Yeah.
now.
No. Do we want? We can tell. I mean, it's gonna be a pretty obvious cut.
Oh yeah, no.
What did you do? What happened, Noah? No, what happened
I
here?
have no idea. Adobe Audition did not display the waveform of my audio, so I actually couldn't tell if it was recording or not. But it is. I can listen to it. I don't know what happened. Thank you.
Well, thank you and good night.
Yeah, I am going to export
I
and hope for the best.
I think that is a good time to switch topics.
I think so too. We may as well. It was a really hard
Noah,
cut. So what's up?
Noah,
What's up?
I gotta say,
You gotta.
and I've talked about this a couple of times, and it's something that I've kind of run into, especially this past week or two. After I picked up Red Dead, actually, I spent a bunch of hours in that so far.
Uh huh.
I I am tired of games having randomly appearing content that can be full on missed. It's one thing if you have a, hey, go kill enough people and you'll find the item or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But I talked about it, I think last week, about how Red Dead has a bunch of missable content and I had to restart it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, there is one quest that only starts in chapter 2. And it's in the camp, right? You have to basically, it's Pearson, I think it is, has a quest where he will be drinking behind his little campsite or whatever, and you walk up to him, you can pick up a little companion quest. And unfortunately, it
what
randomly, let me look. I'll check the name.
Okay.
He asks you to get him, I think, an unskinned rabbit, I think is what he asks for. Let's see. It's a camp item request. Let's see. Yeah, Pearson. Drinking beer while cooking between 8 a.m. and noon. Supposedly, riding in and out of camp until he spawns behind the smaller table at the food tent is the easiest way to obtain the request.
Okay.
It doesn't sound that bad. Pearson is an alcoholic. He drinks all the time. Great. Unfortunately, I have spent probably a week of in-game time driving back and going in and out of camp and then sleeping through the night and then going in and out of camp again. I cannot for the life of me get it to spawn. I've gotten, I think, every single other one so far, except for no, I even got I have a fire bottle recipe now too. So no, I've gotten every other one that's chapter 2 exclusive, or has to be started in chapter 2, except for this one. And this is the one that has a unique fucking item reward.
What do you get out of it?
And I'm furious. It's called the Scout Jacket.
Oh, nice.
RDR2. It's a pretty decent. It's the let's see, hold on. Is it the denim one? I think it is. I think you guys would approve. I'm pretty sure it's the denim jacket.
Oh, I do like that.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's the denim jacket with some a
like,
leather collar. That's good. I like that.
And you can change. It actually isn't a bad jacket, and you can change like the styling on it, so it doesn't have to be like blue denim. It can be like I'm looking at one that's like a nice like tan denim, khaki denim, and like.
I like this one that's just corduroy.
Exactly. Like I actually really like the jacket, and
it's a good style.
Haha, jean jacket, whatever. But like, it's a nice style, and I want it because I want to unlock everything because I'm that fucking person.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I will scream. I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna scream because I cannot get it to fucking spawn for the life of me. And it's very it's not bad frustrating, it's just frustrating.
No, I get that. It makes sense. I get where you're coming from. But the flip side is I really enjoy the idea of missable content.
I mean, I get that.
I also am coming at it from a different angle than you because I know this is a game that I'm really liking,
like 5 times.
and I'm gonna keep replaying it because it's just
a game for that.
Yeah, it's a really good replayable game.
Yeah, it's a great time sink. It's one of the better time sink games that I've played in a while.
I feel it like attached to every character that you run into, good or bad. I have feelings about them, like, and I haven't even touched online yet. I'm very excited to play around online.
I need to get my online working. I have some issues with online, but I'm going to try and get that working.
It just sounds like the Red Dead experience, my guy.
Yeah,
having some issues.
Because I think it would be so much fun to do, like, even as a stream, it would be so much fun to play online with you.
Yeah, I would. That would be great. I would love to play this game online with you. My big issue is that I cannot aim on this game to save my life.
Can't you play with a controller?
Does it kick in? It's like heavy aim assist if I use a controller.
It does in GTA. I would assume it also does in Red Dead.
Nice. In that case, I'm probably going to switch over to a controller because I feel so much more comfortable in speed fighting situations with a controller that helps just track onto people a little bit better.
I mean, that's super fair. I've really in speed fighting situations, I've found that I kind of crutch myself. I've just been like, I'll pop a whatever the thing is to give you max fortified Deadeye and just go off with dual revolvers and just deal with the problem.
Literally what I've been doing too.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it works. And like, it does feel really good if you can land like a skill-based headshot from a distance with anything, really.
Oh yeah, that's always nice.
But it also, I don't know. It just, the other game that I would point out that actually handles missable content relatively well is Skyrim, right? Because like theoretically, any of the major faction quests can be skipped, right? Literally, so like all of it is theoretically missable.
Yeah.
If you choose not to chase it. But I would say that it is not missable because for almost all of it, you can just go do it. You can be the head of the Mages Guild and the head of the Thieves Guild and the leader of the Blades.
I was going to say, Skyrim is a coward for backing off on what they had already set in place with a bunch of other games. Because I enjoyed not being able to participate outside. Like, like there's certain things where it's just like, man, I wish I could have done this.
To do both of these things.
But unfortunately, I joined this party, and since they hate each other, I can't be the head of the Mages Guild and the Thieves Guild and the Fighters Guild. That like I don't think it's unreasonable for me to like want to keep that separate.
That's kind of what Fallout 4 did, at least. Where you had to 3-4 main factions that you had to pick between one of them by the end.
Yep, you could play all 4 sides for a hot second, but I think you could play 3 sides for a hot second, but as soon as the 4th faction shows up, you're pretty boned.
Yeah, exactly. And like I don't hate that because if that were all that Red Dead was doing, right, I wouldn't mind that. That would actually be kind of dope. Because you know what always happens in situations like that? The modding community comes forward, especially in games like Bethesda or Rockstar, and says, "What if no?" And then there's a community mod out there that lets you do all of it. And that's if I have to mod the game to do that, that's fine. I don't mind. What I do mind is that I'm going to have to play through the game 4 times to get the full story, and I don't love that. I don't love that in the context of Fallout. In Skyrim, there's one specific event. I mean, it's not a spoiler. The game's been out for 20 years now. It feels like. So at the very end of the game, you get to meet Parthenax, right? You've played through Skyrim at some point?
I haven't, but I know who Parthenax is. So
you have to make the choice between Parthenax and the Blades, right? This neat dragon who's been quietly helping you the whole time. Very chill. Is it better to be born good or to overcome your natural evil through great effort? Great line, great character. Love Parthenax.
Yeah.
The Blades are super racist because that's their whole point, is to slay dragons. That's their job. In the absence of the Dragonborn, they slay dragons. And like in the core game, that is one of the few things that you cannot avoid. You have to pick Parthenax or the Blades. Those are your only options. And I anytime I play the game, I mod it because because to me, right, as I am the literal reason for the Blades' existence, they should listen to me when I say, not this one, he's cool. In my opinion. And I think that's a very valid way to play. I personally like the way Skyrim handles it better than most games, unless it's even in Skyrim. You can side with the Empire or the Stormcloaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's even like a valid like, hey, you can't play both sides in this because fuck you.
But
That's
also, when it comes down to it, it's pretty much you choose one side, you can't do the other for the most part across the board. And then you play a second playthrough and you can do the opposite choices with
exactly
no real change.
Exactly. And they're going to be very similar gameplay. It's going to nothing really is going to game breakingly change in the world.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm always a fan. I get that it definitely makes for a lesser story, right?
Mm.
Literally because of the nature of it, that is by definition taking away player choice, which is always a good thing. Player choice is always a good thing. It's the basis of most video games.
Mm-hmm.
But as somebody who, especially if it's a short game, it's a 10-hour game, dude, give me all the choices. I don't care. Sure, I'll play through it a couple of times to get all 40 hours out of it and get all 4 endings. Great. But for Skyrim, which a full playthrough, 60 hours, 100 hours? Like if you're trying to get all major factions
let me
done
double check.
And all that. How long to beat? Let's see. How long to beat Skyrim? How long is complete? Let's see. Main story plus extras is 116 hours average.
That's not bad to 100% Skyrim.
That's not the completionist run.
Oh.
That's the main story plus the extras. So that's main story plus all the DLC plus all the side quests. Completionist run is 248 hours. A speed run for 100% Skyrim run is 98 hours average. Fastest at 50. And I think that is
I really like this
valid.
Google note here where I'm just like looking at some of the little drop downs, and one of the drop downs is Skyrim worth playing in 2020. And
yes.
Well, the only reason they're saying yes is because it runs on garbage systems and old laptops, so you can play it. I don't think it answers the question of is it worth playing in 2020. Honestly, I think that's one of those things that it's up to you, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't think I've made any secret of the fact that I shit on Skyrim a lot. I don't think it's a good game.
I shit on Skyrim.
I liked it when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 2011. We're talking like 9 years ago. As of this podcast coming out, we are looking at this game being
anniversary, isn't it?
9 years and a day old.
Yeah, it just passed its anniversary.
No, it's about to, because it was 11/11/11.
Sorry. Right. And I think that like it's super valid to not want to play the game. I think there are a lot of problems with it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's fine if you like it, right? Like,
yeah, if you like it, like much like Red Dead almost.
My
right?
literal
if you
issue
like Red
with
Dead,
it
go play
is
Red Dead.
what you love about it, and that is how moddable it is. Because I want to be able to like a game without modding it. Like Dragon Age.
Yes.
I do mod Dragon Age, but I modded like Inquisition. I primarily modded all the games to just make them more stream friendly. Like I wanted
Isabella, they look prettier.
I wanted Isabella to look less naked, so I gave her pants. You know, I didn't want to get in trouble for that. I didn't want to wait 14 hours for a war table mission to finish, 14 real-time hours. So instead, I made it so war table missions automatically immediately complete. That is a nice streamlined process I can do.
Quality of life. You like quality of life mods.
Quality of life mods are great. At my experience with Skyrim at this point, I need to get mods that make it worth getting quality of life mods.
Make it something new. Yeah.
And that's what bums me out. And it's like, I would love to return to Morrowind, because I guarantee my opinion on that game is going to flip real hard if I actually get back to it, right? Like, I'm willing to take my rose-colored Morrowind glasses off, because I did try and play it, and hot damn, that game's rough.
Noah, there's I gotta talk to Mogi. There's a multiplayer Morrowind mod that is fully functional.
I have seen that, actually. It looks like
Mogi
a blast.
and I have played it before. It is a little janky, but Morrowind was kind of janky.
What?
And so like some of the questing stuff is a little weird, and there is distinctly this is the main character, and this character has to be here for certain things. But
yeah, whoever's hosting has to be around for big events.
I would love to do something like that with you at some point too, or even with like a group of people, because we played it when we did it. We did it with like 5 people or 6 people or something, and it was just silly because for literally the first half hour of the game, or 2 hours of the game even, it was just running around and like exploring, because I've never played Morrowind before, and just seeing things and figuring out what the hell you were and weren't allowed to do, and like picking up every single thing that wasn't nailed down. Usual gamer stuff.
The usuals. See what I need to get the mods that make it a widescreen game, because right now it's square, but it won't display square on my monitor, so it's stretched and it looks bad, and that's fine, but it looks really bad.
Isn't there also? I think there's one from Oblivion and for Skyrim as well. Actually,
See, I'm just sad that Bethesda shut down Skywind and Skyblivion because while that
wait,
is one of those
I didn't know
massive, like,
wait, Skywind got shut down.
yeah,
What?
I mean,
I
it
didn't
got
know
shut
about
down.
this.
Yeah, because more Oblivion got shut down, and Skyblivion got shut down, and Skywind got, like, it's one of those things where there's still some people who work on it here and there, but the core project keeps getting tanked with lawsuits by Bethesda, so they can't work on it.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now. Oh, actually, no, January 11th.
Oh,
At least as of January 11th this year,
Are they back
Skywind
at
is
it?
still active.
Oh, that is so good to hear. Because, like, for a
'Cause
game that prides itself on its modding community, the fact that they shut down all attempts at more Oblivion and the initial attempts at Skywind was so depressing. Because
Yeah.
it's like, come on, dude.
And-
You can't sit here and tell me I'm very happy they put a hat on a mud crab, but then be like, oh, my game that I already made and I don't support, they're trying to put that into this game, which might make people buy another copy of Skyrim? No. Like,
Yeah.
come on, dude.
Well, and I know with Skywind has been in production. What is the Skywind status right now?
It's probably been in production for like 9 years.
It literally basically since it came out. Let's see. Official website for Skywind. Man, I haven't thought about Skywind in a long fucking time. Holy crap. Yeah, it's been, let's see. Yeah. So yeah, that's what it is. Okay. That's why. So Skywind, Oblivion, whatever, and Skyblivion all have the same issue that actually happened with Star Wars Galaxies.
Okay.
Which is essentially they were told you can use our base game, you can use our story, essentially. You can, at least for, it looks like right now they're allowed to use their meshes, so like all the like modeling and stuff. What you can't use is most of our textures, unless you make it so that the person has to own both games to be able to play like the remake. Star Wars Galaxies does a similar thing where they were told you cannot use anything made at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, cool, we will go back to an older version where we do have permission to use it. And we will take, I think it's been going on for like a decade now. I've talked about Galaxies before. It's been a long time. We will start rebuilding and recoding everything from scratch. We know what it has to look like in the end. And now we just have to, and we can even look at the source code and kind of get an idea of how it worked. We have to rebuild it completely from scratch.
Oh my gosh.
And it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. I'm scrolling through if there's any, I'm trying to scroll through TES renewal. Is that what it's called now?
I don't know.
TES renewal landing page. Okay, so yeah, it is TES, The Elder Scrolls renewal. That's Skywind, Skyblivion, Oblivion. They're all the same
Nice.
group now. Let's see. When is the last time we got? I'm checking right now to see if there's a Twitter for these to see if there's any updates. Let's see, last post November 6th. Okay, so yeah, Skyblivion is definitely still underway.
Oh, bless.
And
I'm probably not going to play it at this point because it's so far beyond my interest range anymore. But man,
oh yeah, of course,
I would love to see it. Also, Fallout New Vegas is being made in Fallout 4, and that's fantastic.
Can I make a hot take?
Yeah, go ahead.
New Vegas is fine. It's only fine. I get that a lot of people really like it, and I really enjoyed it when I did play it, but it's fine.
Now here's going to be my question that follows up that statement though. Is it fine in a story way or is it only fine in a gameplay way? Because I know it was built on the Fallout 3 engine and the Fallout 3 engine was good, but it wasn't great.
It was good at the time. Fallout, I have not played Fallout 3, right? So, and when I played New Vegas, I played it not pretty heavily modded, but moderately modded. I got a couple of friends of mine to help me put together a mod list so that it was playable for stream, actually. And I actually stopped that playthrough. I need to restart it eventually. Same with KOTOR. If I ever do start doing solo streams again, whenever I have time. Now that I have a dog in the house.
Yeah, all the time you have.
All that free time I got. I would love to again. Anyway, the story was good. I never had a moment where I'm like, wow, I just don't care about what's going on right now, right? Which honestly, for most, that's hard for a lot of games. It's really difficult. The gameplay is really janky, and the world isn't, like, the world kind of puts on it kind of has the same problem that Fallout 4 did, in my opinion, which is the world puts on this facade of there is a deep, rich world, and you just gotta go for it, dude. You will find that deep, rich world. And I think that a lot of people think that New Vegas actually had it when it's it's kind of shallow. Like there is a lot to do, don't get me wrong, but it's not that much to do. Like once you go to a place and you finish up your quest there's not really there's no reason to ever go back ever. Like maybe the starting town. I know you have to go back there a couple of times, but like that's where I got. Oh, here I can actually check. I'm sitting on my Steam page right now. How far did I get in New Vegas? I played 30 hours in New Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a decent way into it, and I really did enjoy it. I thought that for as much as everyone hyped it up, it was fine. It was totally fine. Like I would put it exactly the same place as something like Skyrim or Oblivion or whatever. All kind of the same level of, yeah, it's pretty good. If you want to play through at this point, now that it's when was it released originally? When was New Vegas' original release date?
Oh, geez. Mid-early 2000s? Because when was Fallout 3?
2010.
Okay.
2010, which is honestly, that seems
that's
incorrect
much later than I thought it was, but yeah. I also have no concept of when No, that can't be true. There's no way that's true.
No, October 19th, 2010, yeah. No. Skyrim came out a year after New Vegas.
Oh, New Vegas. I thought you were talking about Fallout 3. No, New Vegas came out in 2010, sorry. Yeah. Fallout 3 came out in 2008. And I'm just like, no, there's no way that Fallout 3 came out in 2010. That's fake. But no, yeah, this is correct. And
here's so New Vegas is built on that Fallout 3 engine, like you said. I'm pretty sure they built a whole new engine for Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
Or did they base it on it? No, I don't think they based it on
it was the new engine. Fallout 4 and Skyrim are running on the same engine.
Right, that's what it was. And like it kind of shows. The game ages okay, but if you want to see the story for something like New Vegas or any of those games, right? Any of those big name until they come out with, because we'll talk about Mass Effect in about 2 seconds. Hold on. Wait, yep, there it is. Yeah, there it is. Okay, I was waiting for you to see it. We'll talk about that in 2 seconds. If you want to see most of those games, because they're probably not going to get a remaster, right? I don't really see New Vegas getting a remaster anytime soon.
Yeah.
I kind of would be disappointed if it did, honestly, because I don't think it would land as well if it was released today.
It's too divisive of a Fallout game.
Mm-hmm. Same with 3. I think anything from like 2012 earlier, I don't care as much as if it gets a full remaster, unless it's a situation where, remaster, I'm not interested. If they did a remake, that would be pretty cool. I'd be pretty hyped for that. Or if they did like a Fallout 1 or Fallout 2 remake, that would be kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, no, Mass Effect got it just announced, right? Like in the last week or so.
Yeah, like as of recording on Sunday the 8th, I think it was like 2 days ago.
Yeah, a full remaster of the whole series too, and not just as like and it's supposed to be a full remaster of all of them, and it's under one title. It's kind of like what the Master Chief Collection did, where they didn't bother splitting it up into
better than I thought.
And to me, that's how you do, especially for a big series like that, right? Like I would love to see a Fallout Vault Hunter edition or something, where it's just the first 4 games, or first however many games, 5 games, 6 games, however many fucking there are at this point, and it's a full remaster of all of them. I think that'd be really cool. I think that would be there would be some jank, and it would be hard for them to do because obviously different engines and whatnot. But I think the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is going to be really good, and hopefully they'll what they did with Skyrim, Skyrim Special Edition. They'll fix all of the dumb bullshit bugs or most of the dumb bullshit bugs that plagued the game for years.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically any Bethesda game at this point, you kind of like it's almost not literally. It's almost not worth playing until you get the community patch, right? There's always a community patch, every single one. And it just fixes stuff. And like I would love to see a Fallout New Vegas plus Fallout 3 plus 4. I don't think there's not one before 3, because before 3 was the 2D version. I've played Fallout 1 a little bit. Fallout 1 in my opinion holds up actually better than Fallout 3 in New Vegas because it's a stylistic thing.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, you could have Fallout 1 come out now, with the exception of how it's just a little jank and slow.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
because it's a stylistic thing. It's a 2.5D, like it's its own like style that I think would work really well in the modern day, because that's kind of a there's like a lot of people who are still doing that style or doing that style in a new way at this point. I think you could do something with that. Or if you wanted to make Fallout 1 or 2 as a 3D game, you probably could, because enough people haven't played it that coming out as a 3D game would be unique.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care as much about 3 in New Vegas getting a remaster, because like I've already seen them as they're going to be. The only thing they're going to do is they're going to make them prettier. And while I probably will play through the Mass Effect series, because I did play through 1 and 2 and never got around to 3, even then I'm like, well, it's just going to be the same thing, just looking prettier. And to me, if I'm going to do that, I'm just going to mod it. Like there are enough mods for the game at this point that unless they're changing like the core engine, they're enough mods for this game that I can make it look just as pretty as they can and for free.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But it is exciting. It is very cool to see that the Mass Effect is getting a full remaster, especially considering how poorly Andromeda did.
Yeah. See, it's one of those things where BioWare seems to not know its own player base, And it's
yes. Go ahead. I have a thought on that, but go on.
So like, what was it? Anthem. Anthem was a really great game from a gameplay perspective, right? Everyone who plays Anthem loves Anthem. But if you want to play a single player game, which is what most people know BioWare for.
Yes.
And that's like the huge disconnect is BioWare is known for Mass Effect and Dragon Age. People are desperate for more Dragon Age. Dragon Age is one of the best fantasy RPGs out there, right? Like
I don't think it's a hot take.
Not just
that's just a fact.
I was gonna say I'm not trying to like pump up my favorite. It is one of the better regarded fantasy series,
Baldur's Gate, I guess, but even that's based on D&D. So
exactly.
I would even count that.
And that's fun fact. That's why Dragon Age Origins exists, because they wanted to have their own fantasy game that they didn't have to pay royalties to D&D for.
That's so funny.
So they had made one of the Baldur's Gates. At the time, what was it? They had done Baldur's Gate 1 or up to 2. And then they were just like, what if we made our own game though? And that's why the gameplay is so similar and stuff like that, because they did what they knew. But like,
they were like, hey, what if we just took it and said ours now?
When Andromeda came out, everyone was like, ooh, new Dragon Age DLC? When they're like, we have a big thing coming. And then it's a new Mass Effect. And it's like, okay, new Mass Effect. That's cool. But then Andromeda did bad because they didn't delve into what made Mass Effect good.
Yeah. From what I heard, the game, like the actual core gameplay loop was pretty good. But if just go play Mass Effect 3 multiplayer at that point. Is from what I heard.
And I mean, like, I get it. People don't want to do that. People want a new Mass Effect, and that's fine. But like, BioWare keeps missing the mark, and it's really sad because it's a company that could be doing fantastic if they stuck with their strengths of they make a pretty solid shooter RPG and they make a really solid fantasy, not as much of an RPG anymore, but like it's in the ballpark.
What would you call it if not an RPG? Action RPG?
I don't know. It's just that the RPG elements of Inquisition were very light.
Fair enough.
It's kind of like how Fallout 4, everyone was joking that the next Fallout game was just going to have happy face, frowny face as the combo options.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
As soon as you go into a dialogue tree, imagine
having only 2 options for your dialogue trees: Paragon and Renegade.
That's actually a big criticism I've seen of Mass Effect recently. Is if you actually want to game the Paragon Renegade system, you can only answer certain ways because you can't afford to lose any of your Paragon or Renegade points.
Yep. I remember that.
Which, I mean, fair. I get it. I agree with it even, but man, it sucks. But yeah, I think that they would do well to do, because there was Dragon Age 2 DLC that they cut in favor of getting Inquisition out sooner.
I remember that. Yeah, the one that was supposed to follow, what's her name?
Who?
Wasn't the 2 DLC supposed to follow Morrigan after she fucks off? It's okay. 2 is the one where at the end of the game she just fucks right off. Or is that 1?
That's 1. That DLC exists. The Witch Hunt DLC.
I thought there was supposed to be one for 2 as well that did the same thing.
I don't know if there was for her, but I know that we were supposed to get the Exalted March, which was entirely about the Chantry sending their armies against the city of Kirkwall to cleanse it. Dope. Yeah, because they were like, hey, if you don't get your shit together, we're going to have to do an Exalted March, and we haven't done one of those in a while, so please don't make us do that. And then obviously Dragon Age 2 ends with everything going to shit. So the Exalted March happens, and that was DLC that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But instead, they brought out Dragon Age Inquisition on time, when I really wish they would have delayed it by like 6 more months and given us that DLC, because Dragon Age 2 is just dying for content.
Speaking of delays, I don't want to tread too far off, because I would like to say real quick, BioWare does do multiplayer games. The Old Republic, it would be the one I would really point to.
This is true.
The Old Republic is phenomenal. I would love to see something like The Old Republic, but I think that because Star Wars is such a broad world outside of BioWare, that's the only reason they were able to do it. I think if they had to do a completely unique world that was like that, I don't think they'd be able to do it as effectively.
I mean, look at their Destiny ripoff. Anthem was cool. Anthem worked. no one cared.
Mm-hmm. Two, the other company that I think was known, at least in my opinion, let me see, games developed. Yeah. So the other one that I would point out is like, hey, this is a game that like everyone kind of liked was Respawn, right? Like they were known until Apex came out, they were known for. I mean, I know they did. They were. It was some of the people who worked on Call of Duty, but they were really known for fucking like single player games with a multiplayer side to it, rather than a full, something weird like a battle royale. And then they did Jedi Fallen Order, which is their only fully single player game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they would be one of the ones that I would love to see do more in that regard. On both sides, I would love to see them kind of get the freedom to basically just build a game that they completely are off the wall of their own. That said, I'm so glad they got to do Fallen Order because Fallen Order was really good.
I've heard very good things about it.
If you like a Dark Souls-esque game, it's Dark Souls but Star Wars and easier.
See, the big criticism I've heard is that in this day and age, most people expect to be able to customize their main character, and a lot of people didn't really connect with this guy.
That's true. I connected with him. I think dang it, I'm moving off of a topic that I wanted to keep on, and I've forgotten what the topic was. Doesn't matter. I loved it because I recognized the actor for the main character.
Oh.
He was in Gotham, which whatever show not a lot of people watched. I fucking thought it was great beginning to end.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, he played Joker.
I was gonna say he played the Joker. You said Gotham, and then I'm like, oh, they just face cast him.
They just face cast him. Yeah, he was so good in Gotham. He's so good in Gotham, and then you see him in this, and he's playing such a completely different character. But you still kind of, for me, I just immediately identified with him just because I recognized him so heavily from something else.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that face casting is like I feel like more and more common these days. Like it's just most characters are going to be a 1-to-1 at this point. Not all by any means, but like a lot.
I worry that means that people are going to try and get like conventionally famous people to play roles in video games instead of paying voice actors.
You mean like
do that job?
What's his name? Who did Beyond Two Souls?
I don't know.
Who's the developer on that? David Cage. David Cage does that for I feel like a lot of his games. But those are also like a distinct style of like they're essentially visual novels, really. Hot take. But yeah, I don't know. I think that I would love to see BioWare get the freedom to make, because I know Anthem got canned a lot because of something about release date. I remember being a thing. Mm-hmm. And the story just being, no good. But the controls, like the actual combat and the gameplay was really good. But the rest of it, the parts that matter to replayability to an extent, unless it's Destiny, I guess, no good, very bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to, and like it's one of those things where BioWare is capable of making good games. They've made good games before. That's what you said. They're out of touch with their base. That's what I was going to come back to. I think that part of it is that they're out of touch with their base. Yes. I think part of it is also that their base doesn't always know what the fuck it wants. And I think it's a problem with a lot of games, especially with big companies and big properties behind them. A lot of people, I feel like, don't want games to, like, everyone's like, oh, I would love to see a game take a risk at some point. And then something like even Titanfall 2, not to like plow down that one. Mm-hmm. Titanfall 2 takes some risks, or Dying Light takes risks, and it gets it at first, at least, Dead Island, the predecessor to Dying Light, got shit canned.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for games to take risks because the players, while they say they want risks, what they really want is the same thing, but newer. Hence why things like FIFA and like that kind of thing, like sports games like that have had the exact same controls for 20 fucking years now, are so fucking popular. They're some of the most popular games on the Steam market right now. Because they don't, and I think that's part of the problem, right? Like, I'm not a developer, so of course I don't fucking, like, I'm not sitting here and like, yes, I will tell you how it should work.
Yeah.
But I think that it's frustrating, I'm sure, from their side to be like, we tried something new and everyone fucking hated it. Like Andromeda, right? Andromeda, sure, their story might have been bad, but like at least they didn't say, oh, well, what if we just did Shepard again? You know what I mean? Like they did at least try to do something new.
They could have done that and they didn't. And I respect that.
Exactly. And I think it's really hard when you have a popular title like that. Like, I have no clue. I would not want to be on the dev team for Elder Scrolls 6.
No.
I wouldn't. Because there's so many expectations going into that game of what it will and what it won't be, that if they try something new, they're screwed.
And let's
be
real.
If they try something too off the beaten path.
It's not bold to say, hey, Elder Scrolls 6 is not going to be that good, and everyone needs to be ready for that.
I'm okay with it being okay. So, there we go. Fallout 76. There's the perfect example.
Man, Fallout 76 was just okay.
I heard it's gotten a lot better. I heard it's one of the, it's almost had a, not obviously to the same extent, but something like No Man's Sky, where it's like, it was bad at first, and now it's actually kind of good, and people should give it a shot, from what I heard. But Fallout 76 was something completely new, never been done before by the company. I think it wasn't even I don't even remember if it was, who did Fallout 76?
It was Bethesda.
Think it was just BioWare. I don't think it was just Bethesda. I thought it was Bethesda working with something else. Nope, it's just Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Fallout 76. They tried something, literally the top, like the fourth result down is, why is Fallout 76 so bad, in all caps?
Mm-hmm.
That's really funny. Anyway, but yeah, so like same thing. Like, yeah, they decided to try something totally new. They tried to try a multiplayer only game. And yeah, maybe they shouldn't have done that. Maybe they should have given people the option to play single player and done it almost even like a GTA almost style, where you have the single player storyline and then you have a multiplayer storyline. That might have been cool. But I don't think that was the goal of the game. The goal was to try out a completely multiplayer experience and try and still tell a story within that framework. And hell, even doing it in a game that has, if I remember correctly, no other human characters besides other players. I'm pretty sure it's all robos.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect that. I respect that attempt to try something new. It's just hard when then the fan base says, "Fuck you, your game is bad and it's terrible, and you can go fuck yourself." And I never wanted you to touch it again.
I mean, it really didn't help them that they made it a paid service, and it was just not good. They were like, "Hey, exactly. You got to pay, you got to buy the game, then you got to pay to play the game, and the game is not going to be ready to go day one."
Well, and I agree. And then you have stuff like they almost try to do it as like a Guild Wars style thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with Guild Wars is like, or sorry, not Guild Wars, like an MMO style thing, where or like World of Warcraft or something, where you buy the game and then you have all these different things that you still have to pay for. The problem is that like no one's ever going to be World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft has such a fucking long running history. That game is going to be around until the end of time. It's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
They'd have to do something so astronomically bad that I literally can't comprehend what they would have to do to get that game to completely shut down.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know. I think Guild Wars does that kind of thing very well, where you just pay for the base game. There's a bunch of cosmetics and stuff that you can still buy after you buy the game and play it online. But in the end, you just pay for the base game, and that's okay. It's hard to keep that model running, though. That's expensive. It's really fucking expensive. There's a reason there's no Guild Wars 3. You know? I don't know. I'm hugely supportive of major companies taking risks. I think it makes sense that they don't. You know what I mean? I think it makes complete sense that they just don't bother. They don't bother. Why would you bother making something? Paradox doing Stellaris, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still a grand strategy game, still a 4X game, but totally different than their other games. It's a space game. It's space.
Yeah.
A little bit something different. It's what some people wanted. People wanted a little something different, but they didn't want, even like what they dropped at launch got backpedaled super hard to being it more in line with their other games because the community was so angry about it. Like a lot of the things that it has now, the game is completely different than what it was when it got released. Mm-hmm. Like completely not even close. Like same look, but not the same game. And that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. It just sucks that the player base always seems to have that kind of boom. Here we go, bringing it back to the beginning, right? Because the player base has constant access to every update that the game is doing and has constant access to the direct social media of the game and can give their feedback so directly.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it difficult for game developers, I think, to find what people actually want versus what people are saying they want.
Yeah.
Boom. Brought it back to our earlier conversation. Wrap it up. We're done here. That's what we call a callback.
Bomb.
Tie it up with a nice little bow.
My name's Noah. You can find me as Bubba Da Bad, BUBBADABAD, online, Twitch, Twitter, and Insta. I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Maybe another day somewhere in there. Who even knows? I'm playing Dead by Daylight. I'm playing Red Dead 2. If Dan's streaming this week, I'm playing Terraria.
I was about to say, yeah, we're playing some Terraria this week. I'm back, baby. Yeah. I've cleaned up my office. My office is dog safe. I can put her in here while I stream. Next up, I need to get money. Give me money so I can buy a dog cam, so I can just have a camera on her all the time. That's what I need.
Hey, there you go. Big plans.
Big plans, big plays. Yeah, you can find me also at Twitch and Twitter, twitch.tv/BornToRule, twitter.com/BornRule47. I am streaming Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Tuesdays around 5 p.m. We're playing We're back on GTA Doomsday Heist with Brian, Kenzie, and Michelle. Thursdays are Terraria with Noah, and then our Saturday nights are taken up by usually Total War with Cap. But I'm really trying. I managed at least this week to squeeze in a little bit of something extra for some Dying Light with Brian as well. And I would love. I say it every week or every week, every time I bring it up. I really want to do more single player streams. I just like. Okay, real talk, real quick before we go. I know we got to get out of here. It's really hard because of the way I've scheduled out my free time, which I'm not good at. Sure, I'm bad at free time. Whatever. It's hard to get time to play with my friends off stream. And like Noah and I don't really hang out unless we're doing this or streaming. Like that's just the free time we have these days. And so it's hard for me to say I'm going to give up my Tuesday night stream with other friends because I want to play something by myself, because then that just means I'm not going to talk to them that week.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks, but that's until we make it big as a professional streamer. That's just the world I live in now.
It is what it is.
Could be worse.
All right.
I could have to stream with Noah.
You can
Boom, got him.
Find the podcast, facebook.com/OTA podcast, Twitter @TheOffTheAir, and patreon.com/OffTheAir. If you don't want to support us monetarily, can't support us monetarily, what have you, please give us a review, even if you can. Please give us a review on Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star, say something nice. If you say something, we'll read it out on the podcast.
True.
We really enjoy, people. Interacting. And that's a nice, easy way to interact with us.
Imagine interacting with people.
I know, right? Freaking insane. But that's about it. So have a nice week, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Have a nice life. Bye.
Bye.